We're talking about open standards here with Erich Barnstedt, who's responsible for manufacturing with the Azure team at Microsoft. Hi, Erich. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us here. I'm sure you're very busy at the conference.
Absolutely.
But taking some time to talk about open standards.
Great.
I'm wondering if you can tell me a little bit more about open standards and Microsoft's position on them.
Sure. So an open standard is a standard that is open in terms of its technology, so the specifications as well as reference implementations are available to anyone. And a standard obviously means that it defines the way that, for example, communication and data exchange works. And it's usually specific to a specific industry, like discrete manufacturing or process manufacturing. And using an open standard has several advantages of trying to roll your own standard or rolling your own technology. First of all, the most important one is interoperability. So by using an open standard, you enhance interoperability with existing systems and new systems that come on the market. You also usually get a security package with the standard, so you don't have to roll your own security, which is never a good idea. And in addition to that, a lot of times the standard is also open when it comes to the data model and the information model that the standard entails. That means that you can adopt it for new purposes that may have not been around when the standard was first developed. So it's kind of future-proof, right? And you can also connect it to other protocols and standards that may be incompatible at first, but because the data model is extensible, you can map existing protocols and standards to this open standard. So it has several advantages.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about OPC-UA and Microsoft's position on this organization?
Great. So the OPC Foundation runs and maintains the OPC-UA standard, and it's the industrial interoperability standard. It's pretty popular these days. It really took off in the last 2 years. Thankfully, Microsoft caught that train a couple of years before that and managed to adopt it for its own products. But OPC-UA now is really the de facto standard for discrete manufacturing and more also the process industries, like oil and gas. So OPC-UA has been voted as the principal standard within the European Platform Industry 4.0. It's set as the de facto standard in the Industrial Internet Consortium here in the US for manufacturing, because the ISE has several verticals that they talk about. And it's also the de facto standard or the standard for the Made in China 2025 initiative. There's also some work in Japan with the IVI standard. And I know that in Taiwan, they're also really closely looking at OPC-UA. So no matter where you look, OPC-UA is becoming more and more popular. Here in the Open Group, the OPA, there's also a partnership between the OPC Foundation and the Open Group, which means that for the OPA reference architecture, OPC-UA is also one of the standards they're looking at.
So digital transformation and all of this, what is it according to Microsoft?
That's a great question. So one thing I also like to highlight is obviously Microsoft is a big supporter of the OPC Foundation, and we have contributed a reference stack to the OPC Foundation, which is open on GitHub. It's quite popular. We get quite a few visits every day, over 1,000 to be precise. And bringing standards forward with open source reference implementations is also an important part. But now to digital transformation. Digital transformation really means that you're transforming your business fueled by technology. Technology is just the enabler, right? A lot of people think, oh yeah, it's all about starting new projects with new technologies for the sake of the technology. No, it's not. The technology is the enabler. You're really transforming your business, but you need to go step by step. You can't do predictive maintenance on your products tomorrow. There's a step-by-step approach you need to take. And of course, Microsoft supports in every step of the way. But really, it's about starting today with the first step, which is figuring out what products you have that are already digital and connecting those to existing infrastructure and to the public cloud for then collecting telemetry data from those products. Once you have the telemetry data, you can start getting visibility into how those products are performing in market. That's already revolutionary to a lot of folks because they never had that ability. They just didn't know how their products were used. Now they do, right? But then once you have that visibility into how your products are used, you can start, gaining insights from that telemetry, figuring out maybe that product is not doing too well. Why is that? And they can start then, possibly making changes to the product's configuration or to the way the product is set up, maybe even making changes to the product, how it's made, right? So optimizing the product because now for the first time they know how the product is used. And then the next step is where the prediction comes in, the AI, being able to build machine learning models to figure out in advance when the product will be damaged or fail or whatever, right? So you can, either prevent it completely from getting damaged, or you can make sure that it gets maintenance before it stops working, right? And then the next step after that is try to automate that, creating that self-optimizing system. What also sometimes it's, people call it the digital feedback loop, right? So all of a sudden now computers decide how to optimize a product and send data back to the device in a secure way, of course, to optimize it on the shop floor. And then as a last step, you can start making changes to your business models where you say, I'm no longer selling products, I'm no longer selling hardware, but I'm selling outcomes. You can then, for the first time, guarantee that your product will not fail on the shop floor, which means that you can go from, for example, for building sensors, you can go from selling sensors to selling scans and getting that reoccurring revenue that everybody's talking about. So that's, in a nutshell, what digital transformation is.
Some revolutionary changes here.
Well, I think so.
We've been talking with Erich Barnstedt with Microsoft, taking the time with us at ARC Forum. Thank you so much, Erich.
Sure, anytime. Thank you.